All right then, let's proceed to the very final part of this. I sincerely hope that such a thing will not come to pass. Should threats of this particular nature be directed against us, then we shall undoubtedly proceed to eliminate these threats. And everyone must understand this and be fully aware of the fact that actions of this kind will simply lead to an unprecedented escalation of the conflict, taking it to a completely different level and expanding it to the point of becoming a large-scale armed conflict.
For the first time in nearly 4 years of war, Ukraine says it has struck far beyond its borders. Kyiv claims it has hit a Russian Shadow Fleet oil tanker in neutral waters of the Mediterranean Sea using aerial drones. It marks Ukraine's first military operation in the Mediterranean, carried out nearly 2,000 kilometers from home. The target, according to Ukrainian intelligence, was part of Russia's so-called Shadow Fleet, a vast network of tankers accused of dodging Western sanctions to keep Moscow's oil flowing and its war funded. The tanker, Kandil, was reportedly empty at the time. Kyiv says there was no environmental threat, but claims the vessel sustained critical damage and can no longer operate. Ukraine's security service called it a new, unprecedented special operation and issued a warning. Ukraine will strike them anywhere in the world, wherever they may be. In Moscow, the response was swift and ominous. Vladimir Putin warned that attacks on Russian exports and civilian infrastructure could trigger an unprecedented escalation, pushing the conflict to an entirely new level. Putin linked the drone strikes to previous attacks on tankers in the Black Sea and to a deadly strike on a civilian vessel in Rostov that killed 2 crew members. He said Russia has already been responding and will continue to do so. Putin also accused Ukraine of trying to disrupt global shipping by driving up insurance costs, warning the strategy would not stop supplies, but would increase the risk of wider conflict.
I can't help but ask about the strikes, specifically the attacks carried out by Ukrainian drones and uncrewed boats. And I want to ask about them in this particular context. It seems that besides critically important infrastructure targets within the country, they are attempting to strike Russian exports, specifically targeting the supply of Russian energy resources abroad. Some heads of state have already expressed their concerns, specifically Rich Palaganova, a young woman is sitting next to me. She's from Rostov-on-Don. And of course, I cannot help but recall that just the day before yesterday, as a result of a strike on a civilian vessel in the Rostov port, 2 crew members tragically died, and prior to that, 4 tankers in the Black Sea became targets of the Ukrainian regime. Will Russia respond to these actions? If so, what kind of response will it be? And what could Russia's potential response be in the event of a possible blockade of the Kaliningrad region, if, of course, such a question were to even cross someone's mind in Europe?
All right then, let's proceed to the very final part of this. I sincerely hope that such a thing will not come to pass. Should threats of this particular nature be directed against us, then we shall undoubtedly proceed to eliminate these threats. And everyone must understand this and be fully aware of the fact that actions of this kind will simply lead to an unprecedented escalation of the conflict, taking it to a completely different level and expanding it to the point of becoming a large-scale armed conflict. This is something that everyone must be fully aware of. Regarding the strikes that have been launched against our civilian infrastructure, then in response to this, you, as a representative of military mass media, you know very well that our forces regularly respond precisely to this by delivering retaliatory strikes, which in their strength, power and precision, they are simply incomparable with the actions being carried out by the Kyiv regime. But everything that inflicts damage upon civilian infrastructure, to non-combatants, to people who are not involved in any military actions, that of course deserves the most severe and unequivocal condemnation. A response from our side will always follow. This is being done partly because it's actually a utilitarian objective, in fact.
increase insurance premiums. This will not lead to the expected result. Ultimately, it will not disrupt any supplies. In the end, it won't, but only create additional threats. A response from our side will certainly follow.
A drone strike in neutral waters, a warning of escalation from the Kremlin, and a war that is now stretching across new seas. As Ukraine expands its reach, the question now is how far Russia is prepared to respond.